So hello from Green-Mopeds at Strawberry Hill. So today we're just going to give you a quick run through of the ECCity Model 50. This is the 50cc equivalent version, as the name suggests. Originally known as a Model 470. It's one of the most powerful 50cc equivalent bikes around, and that's because it has a 4 kilowatt motor. If you compare that to any other 50s around, such as a NIU Model N, an Askell ES1, ES2, the Askells have 2.2 kilowatts, the new Model N has 1500 watts, so you're talking about 2 to 3 times the power almost of those bikes, especially if you consider that is the nominal power. So 4 kilowatts is nominal, which means its maximum power is actually 5 kilowatts. You're getting into sort of TC max territory there in terms of maximum power, but it's limited down to 28 miles an hour, which makes it a moped. So the end result of that is you've got a lot of power for sustaining your speed, which, for those of you who've seen reviews of the smaller mopeds like the NIU U or the M Plus, the challenge that some of those sometimes face is when you get to hills, a bit like trying to get a 1 litre car up a 1 in 5 hill, they can't sustain their speed. You shouldn't have this issue with this particular bike, although to counteract that you have to consider the weight. So an NIU N, for example, is 95 kilos. This bike is actually more like 140. The reason for that is that it's just bigger. It's a proper two-seater. If you've seen some of the static reviews, you'll see what I mean by that. It's a comfy two-seater. Certainly if you compared it to an Askell, any sort of Askell, well, the older Askells, not the Evolutions, but the Askell ES1, 2 and 3, their second seat was, cramped, let's say. So yeah, 140 kilos. The other thing to say is also that there's space under the seat. The new N has that, but this has, I would say, more, and the reason for that is that it's a fixed battery. So you are getting into, the requirement for the ability to charge this from a 13 amp plug that is available to you either, where you're going or at home, because you can't take the batteries out of this bike. The reason they've chosen to do that is essentially to give you a bigger battery and therefore more range. So even on this bike, which is now 2 years old, we're still getting 55 miles out of it on a charge, and we've sort of tested that theory, so we know that to be true. So 55 miles after 2 years is good. I seem to remember the quoted maximum range was, that you have to take with a pinch of salt anyway, was probably about 70, I guess. So we're still getting 55 miles 2 odd years after we got this bike. So it's made in France, which I guess is another big differentiator from the NIUs of the world. said fixed battery, 4 kilowatt hub motor, so pretty silent. As you can see from the dashboard there, it's got your remaining charge there. There's also a power consumption bar, which will increase as you increase. It's also, although you can't see it, got a reverse gear, and again, that's partly because 140 kilos they felt that it would need one. I've hardly ever used it, so I wouldn't make that your decision criteria. I think Vespa Electrica has a reverse gear as well, but you know, I'm sure you're capable of moving it back, especially as you would have to be on it when you did it. The other thing to mention about the dashboard, if you can see, is that there are no modes on this bike. It is twist and go. All the power is available all the time. There's no 1, 2 and 3 like you have on the new N or Ascol. It's just, that's it, twist and go. Okay. As you see, it's very smooth. The dashboard here is showing now, actually we're doing 34. That's probably a bit generous, I would say. But yeah, it's as easy to ride as that. Just get on it, twist and go. This one is in champagne. It comes now in black and white as well. There was a green initially, an emerald as they called it, but that's no longer available. They've gone the sort of extra mile in terms of making it look like a premium product, because it is essentially at a premium price. So for example, they've got colour-coded wing mirrors as standard, so on the front of these they match the colour of your bike. If you ordered the top box, which this one has, that's also colour matched. It's got a side and a centre stand as well as standard. Some of the other bikes would only come with one or the other. It's got not only the storage under the seat, but also obviously the top box, so the rack is included regardless of whether you have the top box or not. There's also another little storage compartment at the front here as well, and essentially that's the bike. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, really. This visor here is actually an addition. It typically comes with a more of a sporty deflector than this one, so but that we just chose to have this one added on. As I said, the charging time is charging is done from an internal charging point, so as in the charger is on board and there's a lead that basically comes tucked in under the seat, and you just unravel it and connect it into your 13 amp plug. Charging time would be, I don't know, 5 to 6 hours. That's pretty typical on most of these bikes anyway. There is an external fast charger available. It's a 72 volt battery, which is pretty big in terms of batteries. And it's a fairly sort of robust machine. You know, as you're talking about 140 kilos, you know, you've got some weight. They've also married them up to 13-inch wheels rather than the typical 12, which you would find on pretty much, well, not every other, but NIU, for example, they're 12-inch wheels. Ascol are a 16-inch because they've just chosen to have the bigger class. But if you look for mopeds with smaller wheels, it's typically 12-inch. The other thing about these wheels and tyres are, well, other than there being Michelin, they are actually pretty substantially wide, which is obviously good for grip and everything like that, and a smooth ride. So that's essentially it. If you're interested in these bikes, then please let us know. This one is actually for sale now, as we're just trying to move it on. It is what's it done, 2,900 kilometers, so that's about 1,600 miles. If you'd like any more information, please feel free to contact us at hello@green-mopeds.com, and thanks very much.